Okay, guys, hi, and welcome to this discussion with my dear friend from Chicago Reacts. Kit, we are here to discuss, of course, the fall of wokeness and the little hope that maybe the future presents for 40k in the face of course, Henry Cavill and what we have seen so far with the Warhammer animations. And of course, Space Marine 2 is a very based game, very successful game. And now we're going to get at on December 10th actually, the first animation that is, of course, from Amazon that has nothing to do with Henry Cavill, according to our sources. And of course, we're going to also talk about some little wins which are connected to the fall of wokeness that has to do with Gina Carano and her win against Disney. And that also going to take us to 2025, and we see how things are going to go there, and other stuff as well with Star Wars. So, Kit, basically, take it away.
Yeah, it's really good to be back on. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. Now, apologies if I'm coming in choppy. I don't know why my internet is choosing to play a stupid game with me, but nonetheless, this is a huge win for Gina, who has wrongly been hit and censored by the Hollywood establishment. So, folks, let's talk about what's happening here. Well, first of all, Disney tried to end her legal battle, her legal dispute with them. And unfortunately for Disney, they overplayed their hand. And Gina, thanks to the help of millions of supporters, Elon Musk, and a few other brave individuals, are helping her win this lawsuit against Disney. And mind you, look, it must be a very frightening and taxing situation to have a multi-billion-dollar corporation bringing its jackboot on somebody who was just trying to do their job and also, yes, voice their opinions. But we're all entitled to opinions and perspectives and points of view. And Gina, who was a very popular character, Gina has been was again in this wrongful lawsuit that Disney was trying to do to her, trying to silence her and suppress her, and she was able to push back and get this to a point where the courts there's going to be a hearing next September. So next year, 2025 in September, she's going to go toe to toe against Disney.
That is freaking great. I hope that she sues them to no end, basically. And thank you
Yeah.
for the
So
feedback, dear Clayton.
yes.
The audio is good all around. Well, at least that, because the video
Yes.
it's gonna be a bit choppy, I guess, but at least the audio. Okay, so that is great. What do you think about, if you are familiar with the latest animation that GW put out? It was like a free animation, basically,
Hmm.
about the Death Watch. It was pretty freaking cool. Me and Logan actually reacted to it here live. So yeah, what do you think about that? It's done by Bandai Namco, which was pretty surprising to me. It looked very grim, dark, very epic, amazing slow motion, amazing music. It just, yeah, just great. What do you think?
First of all, I loved it. It was a major win, and it had the perfect taste of Black Templar, Crimson Fist, and Space Wolf working together to stand against the foul Necron tier. And good thing they never bent the knee to Gilliman, but they acknowledged the statue and they were able to show the teamwork and the different tactics of both the Black Templar, the Crimson Fist, and the Space Wolf. And very curious to see if they expand the lore even more because it shows me that Games Workshop is giving a damn about its viewers, even though the female custodian thing still seems to be a sore spot with a lot of people. So that's what's going on there. But I think 10 out of 10, great animation for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. I wanted more.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing about the animation. It was so damn brief. And I wanna say huge thank you to a fellow YouTuber and creator here, a Wheezy Pillar, who just super chatted. I'm just so surprised and so thankful. Thank you so much. He said, just dropping in. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're also doing well. We have to do something together sometime, by the way. That's gonna be a great idea. There's so many topics that we can discuss. If you like, we can talk about it. So yeah, basically since then, since Warhammer, I mean, since GW released this animation, I have been somehow blocked. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. I cannot watch anything there anymore. So I gotta try to log in through another device, I guess, to see because other people don't have an issue, but I do. So yeah, I can't even view anything, even if I'm not logged in. So I don't know what happened, but
Well,
yeah.
that stuff does unfortunately happen. I think there's like a lot of issues going on with tech as well as people logging into their devices. Who knows? It's probably just a little fluke that can be easily be fixed, and hopefully you'll be able to have it squared away. I didn't know that that was happening to you. But who else shared you with that? Oh, was the Warhammer 40k video? Because I found out by your reaction to it, and I thought it was epic.
Oh, well, my friend Matty that's now in the chat, sorry, Materian, he basically shares his account, and that is how I watch anything there. And that is how I found out about the animation because he was like, Gary, look, this came out. And I'm like, what is this? And it's a free animation, no less. Oh my God, this is amazing. Such a surprise. They never said that it was coming. Then we found out that the director is actually the director of Inquisitor. I always forget the last of the title. Inquisitor
Oh,
something. One of the first animations that I ever seen in Warhammer, anywhere, anything about Warhammer. That was this animation that was done 8 years ago, actually. So the same
was that
guy.
was that the same Inquisitor where like there's a parade and they're trying to
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, great. Oh, wow, so that's the same guy who made it?
Yeah, he's the
Wow.
director. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I really wish oh wow, that is great seeing people continue to succeed and grow. I love that. But I'm wondering though if this is a sign for another project, and I'm willing to bet that if it continues to get more support, people are going to contribute more and donate more to maybe Games Workshop to see the story expand more on Death Watch because it's something that I think a lot of diehard Warhammer 40k fans want to see, and that is the different Space Marine chapters work together and how their different tactics can also complement one another, especially in a 5-man or 3-man kill team.
Indeed. And one of the guys was from the Space Wolves, and he was so cool, falling down like from the sky with the knife, and no.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
And then there's of course the Black Templar doing one-on-one combat, being covered by the Crimson Fist, two Sons of Dorn of two vastly different Space Marine chapters. Even though they're part of the same Primarch, I mean their battle tactics are night and day. Black Templar, Crimson Fist. Then you have a Space Wolf too. So probably I'm willing to bet there's a competition between the Wolf and the Templar and who gets to do hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, that's one of the coolest things about the Death Watch because they have Marines from all kinds of chapters, and they're still there, being battle brothers and fighting side by side. Just so
Mhm.
cool.
And Matthew also writes, Empress Brodasedu was a director of Lord Inquisitor. Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. All right, shout out to the live stream chat. So yeah, this is all around victories and wins. Unlike Disney, that's losing all the time. Not only with the courtroom drama with Gina, but also with all their projects as well.
Yeah, she would be amazing in Warhammer actually. If we ever actually get something live action, Gina Carano is gonna fit right there to the whole thing. She's so great. I actually been watching her since she was in the UFC because I'm watching UFC for tons of years. I've watched all the periods of Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. So, yeah, I'm happy to see her actually doing something, and I'm so sad that she had to leave about all those stupid reasons. Wow, people like Mark Ruffalo, yes, and of course Mark Hamill are running their mouths all the time, just in the
Well,
opposite direction, basically. And thank you so much, Jake Lighton. Thank you for super chat. Thank you.
oh my goodness. Thank you everyone for your kindness and generosity. Please be sure to hit the like button to boost up the algorithm too, because that really helps all your favorite content creators grow and continue to have further outreach, especially in this day and age of, well, I think the dying days of wokeness, or either that of the cancel culture that has been parasitic to much of our entertainment and movies. And I would sign a petition to make Gina an imperial saint, but correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Gina and Henry also date at one point?
No, I mean, I'm not sure. Really? Oh boy, that's gonna be
Wait,
interesting.
did they?
because they're both like paragons of being, somehow logical and having some sense, some common sense, basically.
Let's go find this out. This is actually oh, wait a
P.W.
minute.
Bradley, yes.
Yes. Yes, they did.
Oh my god,
From 2012 to 2014.
that
So
was
here's what
long.
happened in fall of 2012, they began dating. June 2013, a close source to Carano told Us Weekly that she and Cavill had a good thing going. October 2013, they rekindled their romance, and in 2014, they broke things off for good. Oh, ruined
Well,
for them.
damn. Well,
Damn
he
it.
also dated Kelly Cuoco for a bit, so, you know.
Oh, he did he? Okay. All
Yeah.
right, all right, all right. See, folks, we're learning something. And Kay Brandy says Mark Hamill is such a soy boy loser. Oh, not only is he a soy boy loser, he is the biggest punk I have ever witnessed in regards to allowing his character to die, but then also finger wag at people because they're not falling in line with the Disney propaganda or either the Hollywood propaganda, which is causing so much bankruptcy from happening, or at least either that again, Disney's going bankrupt. So you could blame the Hollywood actors for contributing to that too.
Yeah, actually, when this whole Gina thing started, I remember thinking to myself, why are actors weighing in on such topics in general? I mean, can they
Hmm.
just be actors and not being political? And that was like years ago by this point when all of that started. So I was pretty
Yeah.
surprised. I'm like, keep it to yourself. Like, nobody wants to hear that because it stirs a lot of different pots and it's gonna become a huge mess. And what do you know, it became a huge mess, and then all actors, sorry, hit the mic, started weighing in on everything, and I'm like, why is that a thing?
I think the reason why is because social media has allowed people to have a platform and try to make themselves continue to be relevant. See, there was a time when, and I think we all remember the time before the internet became the powerhouse. Like people would hear a celebrity speak, but it was all manufactured. It was all edited. It wasn't raw and unfiltered like you see on Twitter or random video posts. And how many actors and actresses have we seen do absolute cringe stuff? Most notably in 2020 when they were singing, was it that Beatles song, Imagine? I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
and again, if you really sit down and talk to these a lot of these actors, they're not familiar with what's happening on the outside world. All what they care about is their numbers, where the next gig is. And to quote Anthony Hopkins, I mean, he was never a fan of speaking to many of his colleagues. So he said a lot of these actors are dumb.
Yeah.
No, he's quoted as saying that. He's quoted as saying like, no, I don't. I think actors are dumb. I think a lot of these people are dumb. So, and again, when you're surrounded by a land of vanity and narcissism, you are going to get actors weighing in on very sensitive issues. And when Gina was being canceled, everybody was dogpiling on her because they wanted that Disney check, and that was when Disney was capitalizing on much of the cancel culture. That's why Disney felt it was okay to bully her, why it was okay to harass her, and no one was really sticking up for her, but because she believed in herself and not to mention didn't back down, eventually more people started hearing her side of the story. And I want to hear more. And I am ever hopeful that and in September, Disney is held accountable for its abuse towards what I think was a very fine actress and who played a very great character. And she did nothing wrong except voice her opinions about how people are being silenced and suppressed and how the system, the media, the government can turn you against your neighbors. And it's a sad story. And she wasn't promoting anything insensitive. She wasn't promoting anything hostile. She was just voicing her opinion, which is her right as a US citizen with the First Amendment, and Disney didn't like it.
Yeah, absolutely. They were actually trying to pull off some kind of a nonsense about the First Amendment, but they didn't. So the judge said, "Oh no, we are proceeding to an actual court case now. Congratulations. You're full
Which
of
which is
bullcrap."
which is absolutely incredible. And I'm glad that the judge was able to see the deplorable behavior of Disney And when you do, because I only can, if what was happening to Gina was happening to me, and my opponent was a multi-billion-dollar corporation, I would be panicking. I would be nervous, and it says a lot about her character. And I am hopeful for her victory. And Disney should pay out to her after she has, and not to mention, it's not only just Disney that upended her life, but there were a lot of people who believed the Disney propaganda, that Disney soup, that gruel, of just even continuing to harass her even afterwards. Um, and as much as I like to say that, hey, people need to have thick skin, I mean, even the strongest of us do have these points of time where it's like, oh my God, I can't take any more. I can't log on to the internet because Twitter can be a cesspool. And think about what Gina was doing before people were standing up for her. I mean, it must have took a lot of courage just to try and get through the day, or either that, not worry about your phone buzzing because some jerk who believes in, I guess, a messaging is constantly messaging you. And then, not to mention, there are like thousands of other people just jumping and paying attention to what Disney says and then trying to ruin your career.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's a fighter, literally. In
Mhm.
real life, a fighter, like physically, and now she's a fighter in this way. So it's a great example because if nobody is standing for themselves, well, nobody will be an example for everyone else to see that they can actually do something. And if we all have this mentality, we'll be a lot stronger for it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, because if we are all afraid, then nothing is gonna happen. But if someone is an example, then a lot of other people could develop the courage to be the same, and just to go and stand for what they're believing. And plus, in Hollywood, things get so bad these days that all entertainment start to get ruined. And when you have like a normal movie, it just succeeds because it's just normal movie like Twisters. It's nothing that special. It's just a disaster movie that I didn't even want to watch because I'm not really interested in disaster movies. But this movie was just okay. I mean, it was absolutely normal without anything stupid in it, anything modern in it. It was just a
Mhm.
movie, and it was very successful. And that's it. Simple.
It is a basic formula, but we've had a lot of journalists here, independent journalists, call it to attention, and even cover some whistleblowers who talk about disease practices. And you know I think even we mentioned it once before too, where you have Disney hiring saying to black people or Latinos or even women that they don't fit the profile enough, they're not good enough. There's some instances where Disney hiring people are telling black actors and actresses that they're not black enough. And it is the problem with the woke messaging, because Disney's looking for people that will not only toe the line, but will also fit their image of what they want and what they can sell. And it's for those who they think can follow orders and not be a free thinker. So if there's any lesson we can learn from this, especially with Gina, with Warhammer 40k and these wins, and that is, be a free thinker. Obviously, respect people's opinions and perspectives and points of view. And no, I'm not saying respect bad people, because there are bad people out there. What Gina was doing didn't violate anything. It didn't. It wasn't promoting any hatred. She was just giving a warning. Hey, our media and government can sometimes turn you against your own neighbor, and we've seen this before in other countries. We shouldn't go down that path. I view that as a warning and an idea of, hey, let's just see what the other side is saying. We don't have to hate each other. We can actually talk to each other, which is a controversial statement now, I guess. Or maybe that era is dying off. But come on, if you're worried about somebody's opinion or something triggers you, or if there's a show you don't like, you could be the adult and walk away.
And there's actually another thing that I that I want to add here. There's someone fighting the wokeness like for years now, long before Gina, and that guy was kicked out of Hollywood, but he's still making movies on his own. And this guy is the legend, the Hercules himself, Kevin Sorbo. Actually,
Mm.
he recently did a great interview talking absolutely openly about Hollywood and how he got blacklisted, but he still persevered and made his own movies, enough to sustain himself, I guess, because he's still opening movies at the theater recently as well, I think. So he was just super unapologetic, speaking directly about everything. It was awesome. You gotta watch this interview. So yeah, he has been doing this for years. I mean, dealing with the Hollywood, basically discriminating people that have different points of view when he tried to speak about different topics and just apply common sense. They were like, "What are you doing, Kevin? You know, why are you being so weird?" And he was like, "Why are you being weird? What's going on here? What are you talking about?" So, yeah, it's pretty awesome, and I personally saw a bit of that a few years ago again when I started realizing that he and Lucy Lawless, Xena, were actually in a huge conflict with each other, and I didn't know that they were,
Oh
but because she's an
no.
activist and he is not, they look to be in the opposite directions of the spectrum, so to speak. And they have been bickering on Twitter for quite a while. Maybe now they blocked each other. I don't know, but that is how I started realizing that actually Hercules is the good guy now. Xena is Xena is not anymore. I mean that was pretty disappointing to me that she in real life is actually not that, smart, because she started catering to all the shipping that was going on between Zina and Gabrielle in the show years ago and started kissing the asses of all the gay fans back then, without
Really?
anything being canon. And but they started promoting the show and the relationship between Zina and Gabrielle as being openly gay, where that was not the case at all in the show. There was always, like, subtext, but they had men in their lives a ton. So
Yeah,
this was
exactly.
just fan service for just this type of this small portion of the audience that were the loudest. And this started like more than 10 years ago. I started seeing that on forums and Facebook, and then I had to get out of there because it was just no longer about Xena. It was about the gay thing that didn't
Mhm.
actually existed. So yeah.
It is rather disappointing when you see a lot of our favorite intellectual properties have a point of where they are trying to pander. And it's one thing to maybe bring an issue up, a social issue up, but if it's done to pander and then to cause more fights and then making said intellectual project toxic, you're not doing anyone any favors. I mean, Star Trek covered issues like, again, about identity and politics and perspectives and abuse and bigotry and racism and everything else, but it was done in a way in which you could have a conversation. And I know that, at least from I wasn't too familiar with Xena, but I am familiar with Hercules. I mean, they have occasionally had some, like a story that talked about an issue but didn't make it the front and center thing. It's like it's telling a story and making people care. But when you create, something in which nobody can get a word in and everybody can easily be dismissed, you ruin the joy and the escapism that said entertainment or TV show or video game has done for previous generations. And this explains why we're seeing an end to it, especially in Disney, because what we're not hearing as much is how deep in the red all of these studios truly are. It's not only Disney, it's Paramount, it's Warner Brothers, it's everybody. They are all hurting because of how they gave the middle finger to fans and how they treated different actors and actresses too by excommunicating them. And so this is why I'm really excited to see what happens in September for Gina's case, because, I don't want to use the word victim, but she is a victim, okay? She is a victim of a corporation that was trying to crush her. I don't think I have the heart or the backbone to go through even a fraction of what she went through. And the fact that she's still standing, I only have one word for it, and that's bravery.
Yeah, that is for sure. I mean, she just said what it was on her mind, and she did not apologize for it. Like, she should have done, and she did. So it's so good. Okay,
Mhm.
we are supposed to also mention some of the shows that Disney is canceling, Kit. So
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
feel
Well,
free.
yeah, let me go ahead and weigh in there. So, there's a couple of things what's going on with Marvel Disney. So, you have talked about it. You've gone in great detail about how Disney is going broke because of their woke agenda. And right now, the Blade movie has been canceled indefinitely because it wasn't going to be about Blade. It was going to be about his daughter. But if I want to see a movie about Blade, I'm going to see a movie about Blade. I'm speaking for myself
Oh
here.
my god, I
Hell, I'd
actually
even watch.
didn't know that. I didn't read that.
Oh,
Damn it.
you didn't. Oh, so
No,
you didn't know? Well,
no.
well, let's first talk about like what is actually. Let's talk about TV shows because again, there was this talk about the Blade movie happening, and Blade is going. Well, Blade movie canceled. Let me go ahead and at least confirm this with my source too, because anything can happen. Hollywood moves at light speed space, right now. But Blade movie. Marvel Studios from Deadline. Blade removed from 2025 release schedule. So that means it is done. Thanos out of existence. And I say very good. I'd rather watch Blade 3 50 times over than see something about Blade's daughter. So there we go. There's also Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which, if any of you are familiar with Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur,
The
Moon Boy
heck is that?
is. What's up?
The heck is that? Never heard about that. What is that?
Uh, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur? Well, it
Yeah.
was a comic book set I believe. Hey, and folks, listen, I'm not too familiar with this genre for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, but Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur was a Marvel comic IP, and it's either set in an alternate dimension or on the Savage Land. And Moon Boy is a prehistoric humanoid ape creature. He's not human, but humanoid. And Devil Dinosaur is his pet dinosaur, and they go on adventures. And Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is set in the future where you have a girl, regular human, who was going to be Devil Dinosaur's, like, I guess, partner. And they had season one, but season two, it seems to be the last one. We also had the fact that other Disney projects are also being put on the back burner, such as a potential Daredevil remix or a remake, which they're trying to do. It's set to debut on March 2025. And then we also have a potential of trying to make another Agents of Shield. Why did I stutter there? Agents of Shield, and there's also
What?
talk about maybe expanding more on other shows. But Echo, Secret Invasion, She-Hulk have been put on the chopping block.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. I don't
Yes.
want to see Echo or She-Hulk ever again. That was so
Yes.
bad. But I'm
Well,
happy about Blade because that was going to be disaster anyway. And
well, if you want to know a little more about it, here's what's happening. So, what came as a surprise, there was going to be a Wesley Snipe was supposed to be in it, but there has been talk that he wasn't a fan of the script changes and how he was being pushed aside and somebody else was taking the stardom. And so when you have a big name person like Wesley Snipes who made Blade the character, I was excited to see him. And in the Daredevil Wolverine, we see him again. And he's
yeah,
quoted saying there's only one Blade.
it was
I think
awesome.
so.
It was
I
freaking
and
awesome to see him again. And I thought that the Blade is going to be Mahershala Ali instead of him, although he does not look any better. It's not like you're replacing Wesley Snipes with someone better, so I don't know why they did that in the first place. So I didn't know that Wesley Snipes is going to be Blade again in the new movie. That's again news to me. When the heck did that happen? So many
oh,
changes.
well, okay, so there's a couple of sources here that I'm pulling up here now. Deadline that they don't have it in there, but there are other forums and chat rooms that are talking about how Wesley Snipe was upset and how he kind of wanted to, because again, if you have to remember Wesley Snipe as the character playing Blade, he's the one who really ushered in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, if we can make an argument about that, but it was the X-rated. It was kind of like rated R, where there was blood and gore. He wasn't like Captain America or Thor or Hulk going on a fun adventure. No, he was facing off against vampires that were killing people, drinking their blood, and of course you have the element of horror. So it's not for kids. It's not PG. But when you see something that you made and you were part of, I could see an older actor be like, "Hey, I'd like to revisit that role again," or "Hey, can I be involved in it?" But what is going on here is that there has been so many remakes and script changes, and knowing how Disney is in the red, as we mentioned in the previous segment, Disney has to cut its losses, and they're trying to still bank in on their streaming service, which is abysmal. I mean, we how many times have we seen so many Marvel projects come out? Yes, the first episode gets some views, but they're tanking viewership all the time because they don't respect the lore. And Marvel, Disney, if anything, they should have ended when the Marvel Endgame, Infinity Wars, double movie ended. They should have just let it rest. At least maybe 5 years or 6 years. Hire new actors and actresses to play all these superhero roles, because then people would show up. Because if I see a Marvel movie, I want to see Captain America. I want to see Iron Man. I want to see Thor. I want to see Hulk. I
Of
don't want to see
course.
jabronis.
Yeah, let's just mention how stupid it is to replace the main hero because of their daughter, son, uncle, and whatever it is, like their left slipper. I'm sick of this by this point. There's so many tries to bring forward characters that are like B level, C level, minus CC level. Why? We don't need Echo. We don't need the end of Echo. you know, we don't need anyone. We just need the main hero. Like, I don't need to see Falcon being Captain America. Yes, he was in the comic books for a brief time, but those are the comic
Yeah,
books. We don't not have 500 movies just about a particular character. We need to see that character, brought to life, and everyone else are supporting characters that are around him. I do not like
yeah,
when especially main hero gets replaced. Like, for example, if they decide to replace Tony Stark with Pepper, because now she also has an Iron suit, Iron Man suit, Iron Woman suit, whatever. I don't want to see that. Why would I want to see that? I'm there for Iron Man. I'm not there for his daughter, his right slipper, his glasses. Like, what the heck? Something like that's happening over Superman and Lois. I'm not watching it right now. I kind of want to watch it just to see how they're gonna finish it. And some special effects actually look a bit better these days and how they fly. But why did they have to invent two sons? He has one son, one. Now they're two, and now they're both having powers and flying around. Why is not the focus on Lois and Clark like it used to be in the old show with Dean Cain 500 years ago? I mean, why do we
uh,
have to be like
there, there is a reason. There is a reason, and that is making a fake manufactured message, and that is controlling people's perspectives and also subverting people's expectations. Yeah, I want to see Lois and Clark. I would love to see their relationship instead of them kind of having that buddy buddy, worker kind of relationship, but in actually, oh hey, Lois knows that Clark is Superman. They have an intimate relationship. She's his partner, and I've always been curious to see like that relationship grow. And I think there is I'm hesitant to say this, but a lot of these writers, I don't think they know how to write maybe a normal, healthy relationship where the partners aren't hating each other, cheating on each other, or tired of each other.
a good
I think for
point?
many,
Good point.
I think there's a lot of Hollywood writers right now who don't know what a normal, healthy relationship looks like, because the internet has helped make things toxic and create a space in which something that should be normal and should be normalized is just now deemed as toxic or foreign, and so they want to cast it aside and focus on something else. When I'm okay with seeing different things, but if you're going to offer people a steak dinner, don't give me vegan food. Give me a steak dinner. And that's it. That's what I expect from movies and TV shows. If you're going to be talking about a character or an IP or a franchise, focus on it. And if you can't find writers who know the character and know the lore, you can actually, I don't know, scout out talent agencies and find writers who actually can do it. But then again, Disney has to shell out that money, and they can't do it anymore, which is why we're seeing so many projects getting canceled. And Disney, don't feel sorry for them. They did this to themselves, as has Paramount, as has Warner Brothers. They all did this to themselves. And it's long overdue that they get this reckoning because they gave the middle finger to fans. I'm going
Yeah.
to speak for myself on this, but when I see Superman or any superhero comic book movies or science fiction movies or video games or TV shows, my heart, I want to see them succeed. But then my brain makes me realize, oh, it's being directed by the same sociopaths who don't care about these projects. And so they're destined to fail. And I don't want to be saying, yes, burn and fail. But if they're not going to learn their lesson, then let them burn. And it's simple as that. And maybe someday, with the right directors and the right writers, superhero shows and TV shows that we want to see can come back at the hands of people who care about said projects.
Yeah. And oh, Jesus. Okay, there are a few things that I just want to add. One is that now, because I guess they don't know how to write Superman once again, they decide to give him a human heart so he can have a problem after he died, after he fought Doomsday, he died. And I have not watched it yet, but I understood that he has now a human heart, and the heart is giving him a problem. He cannot hear very well, so his sons are trying to save the day, and he's just coming along to like finish the job, basically. So I'm like, what is this now? I mean, they're writing themselves into a corner eventually because they're trying to take away from what makes the character awesome, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're writing the side stuff that become the main stuff, and then the whole focus that we're supposed to be having, it is not there anymore. So there's that. That's one topic. The other thing, I saw a news a week ago that Tom Welling decided to now say that if someone wants to make him Superman again, some kind of a way, if you know people, he is now willing to do it because his son loved Halloween costumes, and they had a ton of Halloween costumes at home, and he has one of Superman, and his son thinks that it's a good idea for his dad to dress as Superman, and such stupid stuff like that. And that is just preposterous because if you have seen Smallville, especially for 10 years, that's why last week I posted on the community tab. If you have seen Smallville for 10 years straight, Smallville is basically 10 years of edging. That is what it is, because we never got at the end what we actually wanted to get, because Tom Welling did not respect Superman at all. He refused to wear the costume. He just wore the shirt with the logo, and he did this, and that was it. Everything else was CGI. He so hates, I mean, with his whole being, to dress as Superman. But now, because nobody would hire him for anything serious that would actually make any kind of money and make him famous again, he's like, yeah, my son has costumes here, and meh. How dare you, Tom? You know, some of us actually did spend 10 years to watch this stupid show. So we can see him be called the Blur, and now being basically so dumb that everyone else are saving him all the time. Chloe, the end of Chloe. I mean, that's a joke, but everyone
Yeah.
else, and so on and so forth, being so weak and ridiculous. And when he actually flies in the show, it's under some circumstances he's like under the influence of some kind of a kryptonite, because they had 10, like 500 kinds of kryptonites in this show to make excuses for different types of behavior of Superman. And then here comes Supergirl on planet Earth, and she can fly, do everything right from the beginning, right from the start. But Clark, who grew up on Earth, he cannot do anything. He's like an invalid or something. So this whole thing with Smallville is a disgrace, and how he just now, I mean, he just wants to try to save himself and get a role in this way. It's pretty much ridiculous and disgusting to me. So yeah,
Wait,
rant over. I'm
we
sorry.
we actually saw him return back um to reprise the role of Clark Kent, but he was Clark Kent without the superpowers. I think there was like a big WB event. It was like almost as though he had some dumb kids try and make something, and like Lex Luthor was trying to kill all the Supermans of the different alternate universes, and they came across Smallville, and Clark was depowered. Like he gave away his superpowers.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, yeah. Don't get me started on that cameo. Again, Tom Welling. That is like what 2 years ago. It's very recent. He even
Hmm?
yeah he came back as Superman just to not be Superman. Like my blood boils, you know. He decided to dress this lumberjack guy and to just chop his wood next to Lois and be like, I'm gonna chop my wood with no powers. No, sir. Like, you're going to take away everything that it has to do with Superman. His powers, his character, his nature. Like, Superman will never give up his powers. What, to be with Lois? He can do that now with powers. What are you talking about?
Hmm?
He's such a weak guy. He's such a weak man. Weak character. I do not respect that. And Ryu says, Empress, you're so right about the show. Edging without any climax whatsoever. No, yeah. And that's why I'm not watching Gotham. And you know, at the end we see Bruce become Batman. I never watched Gotham, but I did see how he became Batman with a suit that looks like a black condom. Are you kidding me? Like, what was that he was wearing? It was just
It,
like a
he was
condom.
Batman. He was
It's
Batman. I'm
condom
Batman.
man. It's condom
He's
man. It's ridiculous. Like,
Condom Man.
what? What is this? And then you know, in Batwoman, was that CW show? She was like,
Yeah, it was a CW. Yeah.
I mean, that guy, I forgot his name, the guy that makes the costumes, and this famous line that got so viral in the trailer as well. He was like, the suit, you know, he shows the suit, and the suit is absolutely hideous. It's just another version, it's another condom, just sitting there on the wall. I mean, one of the most hideous costumes I can't even imagine. I have seen so many better done like costumes on our Bulgarian freaking Comic Con right here than whatever they had in this show. And she was like, it's going to be perfect when it fits a woman. Like, you stupid! I'm just
Yes.
beside, like beyond
Perfect.
myself. First, the costume is hideous. Second, you are freaking lesbian. Third, this is sexist to say against men. This is disgusting and stupid and everything stupid. And I am just done.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, but it should show again when you give a middle finger to people, and you know, people are gonna find all flaws in your project, including the condom Batman suit, or when or it'll be perfect when it fits a woman. Yes, perfect.
How is not gonna fit a woman? It's made for a condom man. What are you talking about?
and Clyde writes, "Condom Man, the superhero nobody wants and nobody deserves."
I have tears in my eyes. Yeah, because you know his figure, like the costume, is like absolutely straight as a board. It's flat as a board. It's straight. It does not have any muscle structure whatsoever. Just ridiculous. Basically, like a very bad McFarlane action figure, like very bad one, or a very bad May fix figure. If you know which these companies are and what they make. And by the way, we do have Lara Croft, a new Netflix show. I started watching it.
uh, I I couldn't do it. It was I quit halfway through. I know there's other people that covered it. I I gave up. I was not strong enough to sit through it. As you know, I actually did watch that whole Cleopatra series,
Oh yeah.
and that's the last time I'm ever going to sit through that kind of abuse. The Lara Croft series, I quit halfway through. If you watch it in its entirety, you are a stronger person than me. I can't. I just couldn't do it. I was like, you know what? Someday I'll be dead. I want my last minutes on Earth to be more precious, and I don't remember the Lara Croft Netflix series, which she's not fun. She's not entertaining, and the character designs are dull and not inspirational. And if that makes me a bad person for saying that, then you know what? I'll double down on it. The whole show, at least what I was able to sit through, was pedestrian at best, mediocre. All right, I feel like Chef Ramsay or Chef Marco ripping apart someone's dish. This was terrible. So if you care about your sanity, don't waste your time on it, folks. It is disappointing. And if you remember fond memories of Laura Croft, walk away.
Well, actually, because this show is continuation of the games. I do like the games, the new games.
Mhm.
I saw almost the first episode, not that completely. So I just started watching the first episode, just don't have the time to finish it yet. So far, you can't say that it's like absolutely horrible because like it's not the first, I mean, it's not the whole, sorry, it's not the whole episode. You cannot say it's absolutely horrible. There's a few problems with it. I mean, nothing particularly woke, but here's the thing. First, Lara's voice. I love Haley Atwell. I really
Mhm.
do. But her voice is very sexy, very mature, and Lara's voice is very. It could be very sexy, but it is very tender. It's a bit more sweet. It's a bit more youthful, so to speak, a bit more playful. And Haley's voice is a bit more mature. That's the difference. So when I see the character and I hear her voice just does not match at all. Yeah, it does not blend in. So I don't like that. I don't understand why didn't they just hire the actress that played Lara in the game. She's a very pretty girl and she has a great voice. Not that it matter how she looks like if she's only a voice actress, but she actually could play actual Lara. She looked good enough to play Lara back when those games were a thing still. So I don't know why I didn't get her. She's like a no-brainer choice. Okay, beyond the voice, she does look, kind of not like Lara at times. She's drawn a bit
Yeah.
differently every time. Sometimes she's drawn to have a bit more pronounced hips and her body looks feminine and well, and sometimes it just doesn't. So it's different. I haven't gotten into the other episodes yet to see where she is more muscular or something. She's supposed to be in a very good shape, so she would have some muscle definition, just not in the way that it's coming off as too much or something like that. So yeah, I heard some complaints about YouTubers that usually are trying to be base, but I do think that some of the complaints about how the characters are drawn at times, at least from what I saw, what they show, like for example, that some women do not appear to look like women. I don't agree with that. They look just fine as women. The style of animation clear, you can see who is a woman, who is not. So I think that that's kind of like exaggerated more than it's anything else. But I do have to like finish watching it. There's some things that Lara says that are pretty much her cleverness, similar way like Spider-Man, Peter Parker saying different things when he fights, which are fine so far at least. But still, I have not seen. I have seen some clips and I have seen not even the first episode, so I cannot like cut off its head still. And I don't remember what happened in the game, so I do have to go back and like watch some kind of a recap on YouTube to see who the heck was Jonah, because I really don't know. I just remember Lara because she's the one that is actually interesting to me, and everyone else that are like supporting characters, I couldn't care less. So maybe I would just go back and watch a recap and then continue with the show and see if it's really, really bad because I want to see it for myself. It is not the case like with Cleopatra, where everything was a total and utter history insult and trying to write history, human history, that is like a crime literally against all of our intelligence and history combined. This is not like that. So maybe I will continue to watch it when I have time and see for myself if this is really like an adequate continuation of the games or it is something woke, like for real. Because I don't want to imagine if it's woke when it's not. I really want to be objective about it. So yeah, probably gonna take the time to use it like as a background when I'm working out or something. We'll see.
Yeah, I want to hold out for hope, but I am not holding out my breath for anything for Lara Croft. I mean, maybe it does get better. I just the first episode, I just couldn't do it, and I gave up. I didn't care. I mean, if somebody pays me to do a reaction, then go ahead. I'll go ahead and do it. But otherwise, I'm gonna check out other different series, and hopefully, as Hollywood continues to be restructured and some parts of it's burned to the ground, we can actually get some better stories. I mean, but we'll see what's up with that though.
Yeah. Okay, so is there anything else that we missed, Kit?
Rings of Power, the 5 season plan is being touted as too big to fail. And so here's the thing. We all know Amazon is a major streaming platform. We all have used Amazon. We've all seen shows that we love and movies that we love on Amazon. But I think Bezos and his fantastic friends made a serious oopsie, and now they're paying the price for not acknowledging the canon in Lord of the Rings. And the diehard fans who are Lord of the Rings fans are standing in unison and giving Rings of Power the big middle finger. But the problem is because Amazon has invested so much into Rings of Power, they are going to go through with this possible season 5 plan because if they upend it or unplug it, I mean, that's billions of dollars that just went down the toilet for their investment opportunity. And which I have to say, good, because now Rings of Power is that parasitic leech on the Amazon brand, and now Amazon has to figure out what do they do with it. Because if they decide to cut it, all that resource, all that money that the leech has been siphoning out of them is going to go away, and they have to find a way to recover it. And I think, unfortunately, they're on the road of continuation, and they can't.
Well,
So, go ahead.
I do see actually in some torrent sites that it has been downloaded a ton of times. So, at least some people are not paying for it. But why the heck do you want to download that? I just don't get it.
I I've okay, so some people who I've seen on a few forums, they've talked about downloading it to remember how bad a multi-billion dollar, close to trillion dollar corporation burnt their money away. Remember, Disney got rid of Willow. Like they got rid of it. Now, I don't know if anyone wanted to spend any precious time or internet or bandwidth to try and download Willow, but Rings of Power, it's a case study in which you have people take Tolkien's work, his life's work of good versus evil, what he experienced. Because again, if you look at Lord of the Rings, and the trilogy to it, and all the other books to it, The Hobbit, all of it, it was his response towards his experience serving in World War One, where he lost a lot of good people and saw good people, get decimated by the battlefields that he witnessed. Now, he got lucky. He came home, but the burdens of war and the horrors that he saw, what did he do as a creator? He created something and a story that has lasted for generations. And now you see Amazon just tear it all apart, ignore any of the established lore, and people who have made Lord of the Rings part of their local their own library, their own book collection, or either that share it with their children or grandchildren. They have every right to be angry because Tolkien's word about evil and corruption, evil can't create, it only can corrupt. And I don't want to say Amazon is evil, but they sure have corrupted a very popular franchise and try and twist it into something where they're making Galadriel into this warrior monk chieftain general, which she never was. She was never that person. And her and Saruman having a thing, or not Saruman, Sauron having a thing, then how Gandalf became, how Gandalf came to be. I mean, this goes against everything that Tolkien has established. And thankfully, there are fans that are stepping up saying, this is wrong. We don't like this. And so you're not going to get our viewership and you're not going to get our money. And Amazon is stuck with this process of where they thought they could get people to watch this, and Lord Rings of Power. What again? Getting stuttering all over the place. Rings of Power is not Game of Thrones, and even Game of Thrones itself, they gave the middle finger to fans. So I'm going to be watching this because I want to see how a $1 trillion corporation try and dig their way out of it. You have a lot of people in suits and ties who know nothing about creativity. They only care about short-term profit, and they invested into a very bad product with terrible people who don't know how to write.
Yeah. I mean, to write Galadriel having something with Sauron, that's so low level, so fifth grade. Types of, the opposite of sophisticated writing, basically. So bad. But you know what
Yeah,
we got from the first season that is really, really good, and it's going to be lasting for a long time? It's the meme of, I have a tempest in me. That thing. That is
please.
just the best.
Please. I have a tempest in me. I am a tempest. Then of course the transition of how Mordor came to be. Turns out somebody just poured some water into the volcano and then kaboom, everything gets the orange Cheeto dust. That's how Mordor came to be. And orcs have families, and
Oh,
orcs have feelings,
oh no.
and orcs can have babies.
Oh,
You know,
Jesus.
controversial statement in a 3, 2, 1, slaughter all the orcs. I don't care if they have
Amazing.
babies.
Amazing.
Okay?
I vote yes. Yes.
There we go. Begin the purge, the imperial purge. Okay. After all, hey, don't mess with our hostess, the Empress. She is a sister of battle. Okay, and I have seen her Tempest. She's a fighter. So there you go. For those of you who don't know, we actually worked on a project together. So I'm very happy how it's all worked out. So
Yeah.
finally got done with all the lines there. So
Can't
there we
wait to
go.
come out that thing, but it's gonna take a while because it's a huge Warhammer project. But yeah, we play
hmm
opposite of each other, different
hmm
characters. That's what we can say. But there in that role that I have a Tempest.
Yeah, listen. If anything, the tempest in you is 10 times greater than the tempest of what we saw in Rings of Power. Okay, and if anything, there's more. What I really have to say, because I know time is running short here, is these actors and actresses who play these roles, they're only there for the check. They're not there for the fandom. They're not there for the viewership. They're not there for the stories or the continuation of the story. They're only just there to collect money. And as a fan of Lord of the Rings, again, I'm not the most diehard Lord of the Rings fan, but as somebody who has read the books, who has seen the movies in theaters, um, it means something to me. And when you have such a disrespect to it, and you put billions of dollars into absolute waste and garbage and terrible writers dragging a story along, I will embrace its downfall. And I think the Lord of the Rings fans need to definitely reestablish what made Lord of the Rings great, because Amazon fired all the lore masters. Amazon dismissed anything that Tolkien had pre-established, and to his family, I think there were a couple people who didn't like how Peter Jackson did, the battles for Lord of the Rings. But I mean, I'd rather take what Peter Jackson did anytime, anywhere, than what we are getting now.
Yeah, that's why I decided to rewatch all the Lord of the Rings movies when I'm an adult and actually see them, really see them for what they are. And it was just absolutely amazing when I had
Mhm.
my nervous system breakdown like about 2 years ago. That just recovered me very well. I just rested. It was like a therapy to watch the movies. It really was amazing.
Very good. And I think I can speak for everyone. We're glad to have you 10 times here, seeing the true Tempest. And people are saying that Galadriel's Tempest was just a light breeze.
Yeah, well, it's a lot better to have a Karen, a great character turn into a Karen than to have a real writing and real character. So yeah, it's so much better.
Yes.
Like today's writing of a woman, a Karen. That's the deepness of everything.
And I think that wraps up everything. It's just like it shows like the wokeness is dying. Like people, the Hollywood studios made this investment. The Hollywood studios decided to pander. The Hollywood studios decided to embrace cancel culture. And because of it, they're going to fail. And maybe this is where we see the rise of a second renaissance where new people come around, not just in Hollywood, but all across the country, all across the world, of people actually stepping up and being producers and directors in their own right. Sorry, I don't mean to be choking on my words here, but we see the rise of independent creators who can actually, number one, entertain and also have fan engagement and respect the lore. So, Hollywood, you want to play the stupid game? Well, you're going to find out the hard way. And viewers, consumers, will only consume and watch your product if you respect them. And if you don't respect them, well, then they're going to walk away like a mature adult should.
Absolutely, yeah. And I just want to add a few things. So, about high ratio, so he says Warhammer 40k isn't that as long as film studies remain canon. Well, you do have to have a nuanced look on things because it's just not objective to delete everything. I mean, to think about the whole 40k just because there's one change, it's horrible, it's stupid, it's not justified at all, it has no reason to be there. But this, the very least that is still true as well is that the fem stories they are the same. They are the same, they act the same, basically they look the same as male custodies, so technically nothing has changed in that regard. The behavior and the function of the custodies, their role in the whole universe, being the bodyguards of the emperor and whatever else they do in general, nothing changes. So the integrity of how everything works is still absolutely the same. The fact that they did change that, of course, it is one of the stupidest things that we ever seen, especially because they did not give any reason for it. That is not excusable at all. But once again, everything else that GW produced as animation, their own animations, and if Henry Cavill actually leads this project like it seems like, and one particular creator, Mr. I forgot his name, M Reviews, I think, I covered what he said. He says that he has a
Mr. H, I
real
think.
inside source.
Yeah, like I think you're talking about Mr. H or
Yes,
Mr. H reviews. Yes,
yes,
yeah, I've seen his videos. I mean, let's face it, Mr. H being more on point than our good friend Eddie.
yeah, and that too. So he says that the project is going forward. There have been tables, meetings. Henry Cavill is right there at the helm of things. So that is good. And we do know that he's not gonna participate if the integrity of the lore is not kept intact, because we do know what happened when the Witcher was not respected and he just decided to walk away. He did what he could, he couldn't save it by himself, and he walked away. So to me, his involvement ensures to some extent that the 40k integrity of the lore and everything is going to be kept as it is. It's just that meaningless changes, like making half of the custodies or at least some part of the custodies female, that is not something that contributes to the lore because it's once again absolutely meaningless. It does
I
not
think
change the
there's
custodies, once again, as nature,
mm,
but it is absolutely meaningless. So why would you do that? We discussed this many, many times. Um,
I I think if I could just add in here something real quick, when we look at the Custodes change and Henry Cavill's involvement, if anything, if Games Workshop and Henry Cavill are actually having these sit down conversations with Amazon, they're probably saying like, okay, fine. If you want to have some kind of change woke agenda in there, we'll do with the Custodes, but watch the backlash, and you guys can't recover from it. And if we do anything more, this project will end up costing you guys more money. And Amazon can't afford any more L's. I mean, yes, they are a $1 trillion corporation. Yes, they do have a lot of money, but Rings of Power is going to cost them. And if they really want to recover it, they better listen to what Henry is going to say, because they gave an example of what it means to follow a message in Games Workshop. and it didn't. It's not going to help them out because at the end of the day, Games Workshop, that small compromise it's going to cost you. But if it allows for the show to happen, fine. But any more changes and fans will reject it.
Yeah, and another thing is that when we're talking about Lord of the Rings and Tolkien, all those things, we do have basically, I mean, we have no one to protect Tolkien's work. We don't have Tolkien. His grandson doesn't care, as far as I know. So basically, it is not the same situation. Now
Yeah.
we have GW that do want to have their IP brought forward in terms of, I mean, in the form of movies or TV shows, whatever. That's totally different. They're there, they're active, they want this to
Mhm.
happen. Whereas with the Lord of the Rings, we have basically a dead creator, unfortunately, and they just
Mhm.
decided to take something that is out of the realm of Lord of the Rings, like the main books, and just do their own thing. Just totally different situation here. And on December the 10th, the first episodes of the first like bracket of episodes of that secret level thing is going to drop, and we shall see the Warhammer episode that's supposed to be sequel of the Space Marine 2 game with Titus and all those things. I mean, all of those characters. And if that is good and is not touched by a woke hand, then that is promising. It's going to be objectively good if it's good. If it's not, it's not. So we just have like two more months to go before we can see that, and that is not even, supposedly is not touched by Henry Cavill's hand at all. And if that is good and is not touched by Henry, that means that whatever they want to depict in this continuation has to do a lot with the Space Marine 2 game, which was normal and based and not woke. So that
Mhm.
to me speaks that they are just doing 40k. And that is it. They're not actually interjecting anything else in it. So now we should going to wait and see. You can disagree with me, okay? But we should just wait and see, because we cannot be horse with lids, horse with two lids on the eyes, and be like, everything is horrible or everything is good, like the both
Yeah.
extremes. You just have to judge everything case by case basis. And here so far, we have gotten a lot of, well, not a lot, but what we got as animation was pretty good all around so far from GW. The latest one, the Brian X's, the Tides, they're all very good. It's just that the custody, if she was man, like she was supposed to be a man, it's gonna be all
Mhm.
good, basically. Yeah.
I would say let's just hope for the best and keep on praying that they do keep on appeasing the fans. So Warhammer 40k, all the best, and onward to I say onward to victory. It's not defeat. Let's 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 embrace this with Warhammer 40k with some joy, with some happiness. But then again, too, we should be prepared for disappointment around the way. But I think let's rely on hope, even though hope is the first path to disappointment.
Okay. Yeah. And Raziel, okay. Someone not agreeing with your opinion is not them being a horse with blinders on, by the way. Okay. But you gotta see my point here. Well, if you like, that I'm saying that maybe you are being very emotional, because a lot of people are very emotional these days about absolutely everything, no matter if you're woke or not. If you're leading with emotion and not exactly reason, just to measure things as they are without any emotion integrated, maybe you're going to be able to see things more clear. If you don't want to do that, or if you don't think that you're too emotional about this, okay. But we can be too much of an emotional beings and a lot less of a logical creatures these days. That is what I'm
Yes,
saying. So you can once again disagree with that, but I see that on both sides of the spectrum. Everyone are just
agree.
prefer to be emotional instead of just critically thinking about case by case basis what is happening. So you can totally disagree with me all day, all you want, but I'm just saying, maybe emotion is a lot involved, a lot more involved than reason sometimes. That is what I'm saying. Because I'm also talking with fans that are OG fans that are a lot older than me that have seen 40k since the very beginning, and they're also liking the current stuff because they're in line with 40k, what 40k actually is and was. Just this freaking change that is the huge what is that, like a knife in the eye of everyone, and it is,
Mm-hmm.
and it is because of what it represents, the stupidity of such a decision being made at all. To begin with, there's a lot of other things, small things that have been here and there, or neither here or there in the lore as well, but nothing compares to the female custody switch, for sure. Objectively and emotionally, without emotion, this is a stupid decision. If you just remove the emotion from that, it's still a stupid decision and still dumb. But also, everything else in the lore, how everything functions in the universe, still has not changed. All the races are
Mm-hmm.
who they are. All the badassery is still there. All the chapters and whatever's happening in the Primarchs that are alive are still badasses, and they're great, and they're still building upon the story. Tyranids are still killing everything, and we don't have to feel sorry for them or feel sympathy for them. We're not asked like we're
What
asked
about
to
their
feel.
babies?
Yeah, we're not
What
asked
about
to
their
feel
babies and their
anything.
families?
There's nothing like that will drive us to feel differently about anyone that we're supposed to be now liking all of a sudden when we're not supposed to be liking, or whatever it is. We don't have this in 40k. We don't have these types of pushes or whatever you can call it, like we have in other universes. Not just yet. In terms of the whole narrative changing, in terms of whole characters changing, we don't have that. Even with the custodies, they did not change still. The gender changed, okay, but they're still the same custodies, which makes the change even less meaningful because then you're saying that female custodies are nothing, they're just the same. So why the heck do we have female custodies then? Just like circle around with it just becomes less meaningful when you think about the female custodies even more. But yeah, so you can yeah, we can agree to disagree, and that's it, okay.
Exactly. And I think that's a good note to end it on. I think, look, we all have our opinions, but don't get too emotional and, look things critically and see the other side. Because, there are people who are non woke who just really act emotional. And then there are people who I've seen woke who maybe have, yes, I've actually had some successful conversations with people like, yeah, you're right. Things aren't going as good as they should be. And so it's always important to see things in a broader perspective. And even I found myself being guilty, being overly emotional about something. And that's where you got to take a step back and be like, you know what? I'm not thinking clearly. Breathe in, breathe out, have a cup of tea, and relax. Because we're only here once, folks. We got to enjoy life at its best. And don't worry, you're going to see Hollywood implode, and that's going to be beautiful. We can all watch that together.
Okay, Razia, I'm not accusing you of being emotional. That's not accusation. That's just observation of overall how things are these days and how people think these days. They do not actually think. They just being emotional about stuff. It's not poor logic, it's actual facts from life. People are being more emotional these days on all kinds of political spectrums and non-political and entertainment and so on. So again, you can think of yourself it is whatever you want, that you're not emotional, whatever. It is your ways of thinking. I'm not gonna argue your ways of thinking. I'm just saying how things are in general and what we are all observing in our life today. Just look at whatever it is, just look at Twitter and any other reaction of people anywhere. They're all like with the pitchforks all the time, and nobody's actually thinking. And there's so many instances of people that are just watching a video about anything. They do not check the information at all. They just do not think even about what has been said, and they come and they write stuff that are not true in all kinds of places because they were misled. They didn't even think about anything. They were just like, I'm on the bandwagon now, and that is it. That's just what I'm saying. We're not gonna sit here and like repeat the same stuff over and over again. So we just don't agree, and okay. That is it. We cannot agree on everything in any case. We do agree that the custodies are stupid, probably, and the female custodies.
Mm-hmm.
But did the lore change actually? No, didn't change.
Nope.
Did the nature of 40k change? No, it didn't change. Did not become Star Wars. Did not become anything else. Did not become
Nope.
less grim dark. Still, everyone are dying. Still, exterminatus. Still, Tyranids are coming for Terra, and so on.
And the orc boys are always the best.
Yeah, and they're funny, and they're funny. Okay, guys. So, love ya. Thank you so much, kid, for joining me. Hopefully, you're gonna fix this issue next time,
Yes,
whatever that is.
so sorry about this. I really am.
Okay, so guys, love ya. Until next time with me, the 40k Empress, and of course, Kid from Chicago Reacts. Go check his channel if you like. The links are down below. It's just getting late, guys. Links are down below to everything else. So yeah, that being said, love ya. Until next time. Bye bye.